Hi, we are the 5th Biennial Conference of Eastern European Network for the Philosophy of Science. And I want you to present yourself, tell us about yourself and what do you do within the network. And after that, it would be great if you told us more about this network, what sort of thing it is.
My name is Anna Alexandrova. I'm a professor of philosophy of science at Cambridge University, and I'm also as the secretary of the Eastern European Network for Philosophy of Science. And here at the conference, I'm in my capacity as a co-chair of the program committee. That means I put together with colleagues the program that we are witnessing today.
What's the idea behind the network? Why do Eastern Europe need the network for philosophy of science? Why not make it international and global? Why specifically Eastern Europe?
Great question, because in some ways, philosophy of science as practiced in the Anglophone world and in the German and Francophone world is very much influenced by developments in Eastern Europe at the turn of 20th century. So there wouldn't be modern philosophy of science if it wasn't Vienna Circle in Central Europe, if it wasn't for the Polish logicians, and if it wasn't for some Russian-speaking developments in history of science. Eastern Europe has always been central to philosophy of science. But in 20th century, philosophy of science naturally became dominated by scholars working in UK, USA, and certain western parts of Europe. So in some ways, we are correcting the injustice. We are bringing Eastern Europe back into philosophy of science. And we are also creating a network that addresses some of the distinctive problems that scholars in Eastern Europe have when they want to become members of the scholarly community. There are certain grants that they tend to apply for. There are certain ways in which they're underrepresented as referees or authors in journals. So, and they need the extra mentoring and the extra connection in order to be stronger part of the international community of philosophers of science.
And what sort of initiatives are there in the network? How do you operationalize the idea behind the network?
We are all volunteers. We're all making time for the network as well as having full-time jobs. It is, we are all very idealistic, but time constraints. So as well as running the conference, we are putting together regional reading groups on various topics in philosophy of science. We are promoting publications of our members. We have more than 200 members, and they send us regularly the publications, and we make them more visible. And we also have some ideas about how we could better improve representation of philosophers of science from Eastern Europe elsewhere, and how we can support them.
So I think that the network has some specific idea of the relationship between science and philosophy, because I would say that historically many philosophers of science even thought that they could do their thing without scientists, without the connection to the real thing, let's say. And can you tell a little bit about the idea behind the relationship between science and philosophy within the network?
Well, we are a regional network for philosophy of science. I don't think we're carrying with us substantive new views about what philosophy of science should be and what the relationship should be. There are other professional societies that specialize precisely in this. The Society for Philosophy of Science in Practice, have a certain sort of more specific agenda, what sort of things they're promoting. I think we try to be a little bit more inclusive. I can tell you what I believe in my personal capacity, and that is that whenever science has tried or succeeded in brushing philosophical issues under the carpet, it inevitably goes wrong and pays the price for it in the future. And this is why it is wrong to separate the two. It is wrong to say that, you know, scientists need philosophy as much as birds need ornithology. That sort of diminishes scientists' own critical capacities, and that misrepresents, you know, a healthy relationship between humanities and science that should be in a democratic society.
Thank you. And the last question is, the conference is organized with collaboration with INSET, Interdisciplinary Center of Ethics. And I just wanted to ask, how was it? How was the collaboration?
Well, as a society that isn't a legal entity and that isn't collecting dues, our conference wouldn't be possible without the center and without the very generous and you know, consistent commitment that members of the center, management, all the way to volunteers, showed to us. It takes a lot of work bringing people together and making sure that they're happy and they're talking philosophy in a healthy way. So a lot of people had to collaborate. So we are enormously grateful. We know that we are here only because the center made this possible. But we also hope that in bringing so many people to Jagiellonian, and we are also showing to them the good philosophical and bioethics work that is done here. So I hope it goes both ways.
Thank you very much for the interview, for your time, for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.